Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Infinite Danger Room. I'm Matt Price. I'm here with Matt, Howlett, and Chris Borthick. And we're going to jump in and do kind of a sequel to a popular episode we did a little bit ago. It was the movie game, kind of a popular college game for some of us, where you would take your DVDs or VHS tapes, depending on how old you were, dump them all out on the carpet, and everybody at the party would have a chance to eliminate a movie so that you wouldn't have to watch one anybody didn't want to watch. And the movie that was the last movie standing was the movie you watched, and that was the movie game. The way we adapted it for this podcast was we did all the superhero films, basically from Superman the movie to Blade, live action superhero films based on a comic book, and we eliminated until we came up with a final winner. Now, what we're going to do this time is we're going to move a little bit forward in time. We are going from the release of the X-Men movie in 2000 to prior to Iron Man. So, to basically the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer is kind of about the cutoff. So, from 2000 to 2007, live-action superhero films based on comic characters. We came up with 28 of them. Might have fudged a little bit on one, but it wasn't released officially until then. And so I will read off the titles and let you guys know what we're working on, what our list is as we get started. We are starting with, here are the 28. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Spider-Man 3, Ghost Rider, X-Men: The Last Stand, Fantastic Four, Blade Trinity, Spider-Man 2, The Punisher 2003, Hulk 2003, X2, Daredevil, Spider-Man 2002, Blade 2, X-Men, Underdog, Catwoman, Constantine, V for Vendetta, Batman Begins, Superman Returns, Elektra, The Crow Salvation, Superman 2, The Donner Cut 2006, Legend of Zorro, The Crow Wicked Prayer, Son of the Mask, Witchblade, and Hellboy. Now, and if you're going to argue eligibility, Witchblade was a TV movie, Superman 2 was made, and then this is a different cut of it that was released. Those are probably the two we're fudging the most on rules, but we basically, as a panel, agreed to include those in, and so that is our lineup. Matt is going to go first, eliminating one, and then I'll go, and then Chris will go, and we'll go around until we have eliminated them all. We'll talk a little bit about why we're eliminating each one. This is sort of if we're going to watch a movie, we're going to fire up a movie, we're eliminating we don't want to see, which of the live-action superhero films based on comic characters from 2000 to 2007 do we want to see. So, Matt, you are on the clock to start it off, and let us know what you want to take, why you want to eliminate it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull Son of the Mask out of the list. I think that was an unnecessary sequel. I'm not sure who was asking for that. Well, I'll take that back. I know someone was probably asking for a Mask sequel, and Jim Carrey probably became unaffordable or probably unwilling to want to do any type of sequel whatsoever. In fact, I think he's gone on record saying that when he did Dumb and Dumber, he no longer wanted to do another sequel to the movie he's made. So that probably is why he was not in the movie. So I'm pulling it out because it's just it never needed to exist in the first place. It never should have been a movie.
Okay, well, I want to go strategically here a little bit, and if there are things that I know that Matt or Chris hate, I can let those ride a little longer, knowing that they won't be able to stand it.
Probably not.
So what I want to look at are what are things that I can't stand that they might potentially like, or at least not hate. So that's my strategy. What do I want to eliminate that I can't necessarily count on them to eliminate? So it's early going. There's a few kind of obvious ones. I really, my top 4 that I might even take out, I feel kind of safe that they may remove them and save me the effort. So I'm going to go a little non-traditional and take out Blade Trinity. It's got a neat Ryan Reynolds bit in it, but it's not the best Blade movie on our list, even though Blade 1 was on our previous show. Blade 2 is still in there. It's not the best Blade movie we could choose. And like I said, I'm leaving some obvious terrible ones, hoping that my co-drafters here will take out some of the worst ones, leaving me free to strategically run the board a little bit.
I think you're fairly
Fair
safe.
enough.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't know, I was going to pull Catwoman first. As a point of pride, I've never seen this movie, and I never will. Because it is supposed to be the most wretched thing ever, and I don't even want to acknowledge that they made the thing. It's bad when the actress basically comes out and says, "Oh no, it's crap." So
She accepted her Razzie.
she did
and
in
Academy
person.
Award.
In person.
Yeah.
God love her. My respect for her rose a lot when she did that. It's like when you know you've made a stinker, that's just...
You know, it's not like you couldn't make a good Catwoman movie, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So
The crazy thing is that movie came out after Batman Begins.
Right.
And so, like, for a while...
did
like,
it really?
I'm pretty sure it did.
No.
I think it was
Am I
a little
wrong?
before.
No, it's somewhere around. It's after Returns, but I think it's
like 2003 or 4 because I think it had
Yeah,
been
it's
developed with Michelle Pfeiffer and they had just been
Yeah.
developing it for a while. I don't think
Okay,
it was
then I'm
after
wrong. Okay,
Begins.
never mind. I'm
But it
wrong.
was like it's maybe the only. There's a DC gap, like nothing, Catwoman, nothing, Batman Begins, and Superman Returns, and then some of that stuff starts happening again.
yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, it was. Ugh. I don't want to watch.
I think it's sort of the
Yeah.
only like early 2000s DC movie that there is, though.
Yeah, it was probably not helped by the Batman and Robin fiasco.
No, I think that
You
kind
don't
of shut
know.
everything down. Yeah, I mean,
And then Michelle Pfeiffer was like, "No." So
she might have read the script. That
Yeah,
might
she
have been a
probably-
problem. Okay, Matt, you can choose a item to remove.
All right, I'll go ahead and take The Crow, Wicked Prayer. Not that I have anything against this movie. It's just the Crow movies haven't really been that great, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that this one's probably not that good. We probably wouldn't really want to watch it.
That's fair.
First one, good movie. After that, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever watched any of the first one all the way through, but they haven't got good reviews. That's for sure. Maybe I did. I've certainly forgotten if I have.
I know I watched the second one, but after that, no.
Okay, so we got our first round down into our second. You guys did a good job of doing the things that I was hoping you were going to do, so that worked out nicely. You know, I don't mind this era as much as some people do. I mean, obviously, they've kind of kicked it up to another level now. But this era was like, I think people were really trying to do some stuff. It's sort of this... I think if you look at superhero movies as on a long enough timeline, you've got sort of the stuff in the 70s and 80s that some of us grew up with. It's problematic, but it's like, well, that's all you got. Then you've got, okay, we're starting to take it seriously with like X-Men and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, well, can we apply that to Superman? Can we apply that to some of these other characters? And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But it was interesting to see the attempted evolution of some of these. And some of them worked better than others. Okay, so, and I haven't, the next movie I'm going to take out, I actually haven't seen. It could be great, but given the competition and everything, I'm going to take out Underdog.
No,
Okay.
that's good. I haven't seen it either, but I don't want to.
All right, Chris.
Wow. Well, let's see here. There's another one that immediately jumps out at me to take out, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to take out Hulk.
Oh, strategic play. The Ang Lee Hulk.
So here's my thing with this particular movie. I loved this movie right up until the time Nick Nolte turned into an energy creature and fought the Hulk, and I was like, this makes no sense anymore. I'm done.
I think it's a pretty good movie with a goofball ending.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And it's just how much can you remove yourself from the goofball ending?
Well, the goofball ending is pretty epic, so it's like, oh, why? Why, after this incredibly good movie with this incredible cast, why did you do this?
I typically don't like the third acts of superhero movies almost ever anyway.
Right.
So I guess the fact that one is bad for a third act, I'm sort of like, they're usually bad.
Yeah, but
yes,
like...
no, that is a little more than usual.
Yeah,
but I forgive that movie more than some people do, just because I think I'm able to just sort of separate that bit out a little more.
I mean, I'm willing to rewatch it, but I'm gonna stop it right when they get to that point. And, it's like, and the movie's over. It was
But
great.
what happened? The tape broke. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're
Wasn't there
done.
like a Hulk dog?
Yeah, but I mean, but at least it sort of made sense because they were mutated creatures, and it was something for him to fight. I mean,
Now, I haven't watched it in a while, but I know when it came out, I gave it a pretty good review, and I think I've seen it a couple times, maybe once since, and I thought, okay, I don't have a problem with Eric Bana, I don't have a problem
No, he
with
was
Jennifer
good.
Connelly,
I like it better.
but yeah, just the ending is a little off kilter.
Yeah.
Spoiler for 15 years ago. Sorry.
If you haven't watched it by now, I don't know what's wrong with you. So,
There could be spoilers, I suppose, for any of these 10 to 17-year-old movies
yeah.
that we are now discussing.
Maybe if you're listening and you weren't born then, I mean,
Oh, is it my turn?
You're
your
on the
turn.
clock, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
what are you going to take out? Who are you going to make mad?
I am going to go ahead and take out Ghost Rider.
Ooh.
Poor Nick Nolte. No one loves him.
Was Nick Nolte in Ghost Rider?
No, not Nick Nolte. What am I
Nick
thinking?
Cage.
Nick Cage. Sorry.
I like
You had Nick Nolte on the brain.
I just
I did
didn't.
have Nick
This
Nolte
is
on the
my
brain.
least favorite Ghost Rider movie.
You like The Spirit of Vengeance better?
Drive Angry is my favorite Ghost Rider movie. That's not actually Ghost Rider. Okay, first of all, I'm taking Ghost Rider out is because it was bad acting. Is Nick Cage was trying to do an Elvis impression as Johnny Blaze, and it's just
Yeah.
bad. There isn't a lot of Ghost Rider in this movie. He's I would say there's probably maybe 20 minutes of actual Ghost Rider on the screen in it, and it's just kind of, it's like they wanted to make a movie, but I don't know. I think the second Ghost Rider movie is better in that sense, even though it's not a better movie. It has better Ghost Rider scenes.
More Ghost Rider in it.
Um,
I just remember him looking cool. I really don't remember that
Yeah.
much about the movie. Here's kind of my problem with Ghost Rider in general is I think he looks cool, but a lot of, especially his origin story, is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
So if you're making a movie, you kind of have to overcome, well, this guy really has to be an idiot. So
Did you just make a deal with the devil? Who does that? Yeah, so...
That's why I'm saying that Drive Angry is the best Ghost Rider movie. It stars Nick Cage. And it's where he has escaped from hell in a muscle car to
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
and he's being chased by the devil, who it's not really the devil, but it's like more the accountant of hell, who's trying to.
Sure.
He's basically saying like, "Hey, my books aren't balanced. We need to get you back."
that does
in
kind of sound
hell."
like a Ghost Rider movie, but his
And,
head doesn't catch
he,
fire, is what you're saying.
No, but he's somewhat immortal. He's got vengeance. He deals justice, but he's
Yeah.
trying to rescue his granddaughter, who has been kidnapped by some kind of cult, and they're going to sacrifice her, and he has to stop them from doing that so she can be saved. And it's
If that movie were on this list, I would pull it for you guys, I promise.
I'm not saying it's the best movie ever made, but it's definitely the best Ghost Rider movie ever made, because that's the only way I can describe it, is just
Yeah.
all right. So sorry, that's not what we're talking about today.
It's okay. If you were in the Legion of Superheroes, your name would be Tangent Lad.
All right, so we are getting down to round 3. Matt's made his round 3 pick, and told us a whole lot about Nick Cage. as we continue on, there's some not great movies left in here,
Yes, there are. There's something about that, Matt.
and some kind of okay ones, and some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
The sound effect. I'm going to go ahead and take out the other Crow 2.
Okay.
It's a relatively easy choice to do that.
Did we skip your turn last time?
No, I picked out the Hulk. You just talked a lot. It's fine.
That's all right. All right.
It's fine.
So Crow Salvation, I don't remember that much about it, but I'm saying the best Crow is the first Crow, and I'm just going to take it out, and we're going to move on.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kill Elektra. And, I wanted to like Elektra, I really did. But I remember trying to watch it, and, I got about 20 minutes in, and I was just like, I can't do this. Your character was really kind of pretty cool in Daredevil, but, and this is again when I'm watching it at the time. Now, of course, there's been better iterations of all this, but you know, and I like Jennifer Garner because I was a huge Alias person, and she was amazing.
She's a great actress.
She's a great actress. Yeah, and but that movie just doesn't do it for me. So
I don't know if it's as bad as its rep, but it's one of the worst ones that we certainly had left.
Yeah.
I also think that Elektra is an interesting character, though. That's just my opinion. But so that may also go to that they just didn't have good source material. So
No, you know, there are Electra Assassin and some of the Electra Saga stuff is good, but
that what they tried to do with that movie, like I said, I made it about 20 minutes in and was just like, nope. So,
Matt,
it's you.
it's me again. All right. Ooh. Well, I'll pull out another obvious one. I'm gonna pull out Witchblade. It's not that I have anything against this. It's just I've actually never seen it, and I feel like that if it was good, I probably would have.
it's all right. You know, it's all right. It was a made-for-TV movie, so its budget's going to be less than a lot of ones here, and it kind of is a little bit sort of like Law and Order meets some kind of supernatural thing, you know?
I think I've seen
because it has kind of a cop show vibe, but then she also has these magical powers.
Okay.
So it's enjoyable enough. Yancy Butler's in it. She brings some toughness to the role. I don't dislike it, but it definitely budget wise, it's going to feel lower budget than a lot of what we had left on the board at this point.
Good thing about what we have on the table now is that all these movies are somewhat palatable.
Yeah, we're getting to it. It's you're not going to feel terrible about being stuck in the movies probably. So in order to make sure I don't feel too terrible about it, I'm going to go ahead and pull X-Men The Last Stand with my pick. It's just my least favorite X-Men movie. I just don't like it very much. It's got a couple decent moments, but
look, when the director retcons the entire thing with his new modern movie of, Days of Future Past, it's bad.
So, Last Stand is out. Although, if it was on FX or something, I was sitting there, I might leave it on. But it's not my favorite X-Men movie.
Well, all right. So let me see here.
We have 17 left, I think.
Well, I'm going to take Spider-Man 3 out. And Spider-Man 3, to me, suffers from what the first Batman movie franchise started to suffer from, was we're trying to do too much in 2 hours.
Too many villains.
Syndrome. Too much stuff, too much development. I mean, the first 2 Spider-Mans, I think, are very watchable, whether you like Tobey Maguire or not. I've gone on record as saying I prefer Andrew Garfield, but they're still really good. That one to me was the one that I wouldn't have watched anymore after that. So.
There's got to be a Sam Raimi cut on the floor where it's only
no Venom,
and only the Sandman story.
Yeah,
the Sandman story is really good in that.
That's really good, but it was
and the Harry stuff is pretty good.
Yeah, but it was killed by the Venom stuff. It was just so let's introduce Venom.
Yeah, if they had saved Venom for Spider-Man 4, I think we'd still have Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
I agree.
Very possibly. Okay.
It's your turn.
All right, let's see. I'm going to pull Legend of Zorro.
Oh.
Tell the story.
Tell a story?
Yeah, tell the story.
Okay. When I was in marching band in 10th grade... Oh, do you think I actually had a story?
You do have a story.
Do you remember? Have I
yeah,
told the story?
you told the story the last time we did the show.
All right.
So
when I was in marching band in high school... we had a band director, a new band director, and he wanted to for us to do the music of Legend of Zorro for marching band music. The halftime show for our high school football team. We did this, and the only reason we had that we knew is that because he just liked the movie, and so he wanted to do that. So he gets music for a marching band. I think he transcribed it himself and gave everybody their parts, what they're playing, and it was exciting. The music is somewhat exciting music, but what was really weird was we went to a marching band competition, which is what marching bands do. There was another high school that also chose to do the music from Legend of Zorro.
Yeah, well, Mask is the first and Legends the sequel, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, okay.
but I thought
I
thought you would pull. I was honestly hoping you would pull it out and tell the story again.
Okay, Legend of Zorro is the sequel to Mask of Zorro, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sure the soundtrack's the same. I mean, they probably use the same
Similar.
principles.
Yeah.
So, selling the story again that there were 2 high school bands playing the Mask of Zorro
Theme
music,
song.
and we lost. And our band director was like trying to get us like all, like, hey, no, it was good. Theirs wasn't that great. We did a great job.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won. No, they didn't win, but they made it to the next round.
Yeah.
We didn't.
All right. I don't know how many more excuses, listeners, that I have to make Matt tell that story, but I would love to have him tell like every 3 months or so if I can come up with some reason to talk about Zorro and just have Matt tell that story.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
I'll help you.
Well, like you go to see marching band, and the marching bands wear like the big caps. And
Were
have,
you
like, the
wearing
feathers on
Zorro
them.
hats?
Yes.
Oh my god, this is beautiful.
We all had plastic Zorro hats.
They're plastic.
All right, so if anybody
around your chin.
has video
But
of this somewhere,
if
because
it-
I know they do,
I
put it
think
on
so.
our
Do you have?
website.
Was there any kind of sword?
Did you make a
Were there
Z, like a
swords?
Z formation? And...
Oh
No,
did you make
well,
a Z?
maybe the flag color guard might have had
had
swords,
some-
maybe.
Okay.
But I do remember like when it got like real windy. I mean, poof, there went your hat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gone.
It's not tied on.
Well, yeah, but even then, if it
Even then, okay.
I mean, I remember, your hat would blow off, and you'd have it tied on, but it would be like
and they're plastic.
they were.
I don't think Zorro wore a plastic hat.
Well, they were the cheapest thing they could get,
Okay.
It is
and
expensive.
I mean there was
I think his hat would have been.
there was even a guitar
Yeah.
solo in this.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Because
Is there usually a guitar solo in marching band?
no, but in this one there was, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not making any of this up. I promise.
I still think if anybody out there
Because I know
has
who
video
played the guitar
footage,
solo. Because I
wanna see
was
it.
learning how to play guitar during this time,
my
and I
God.
auditioned for it, and
And you didn't get it?
I didn't get it because I wasn't as good, but I was runner up. But the guy that got it,
Runner up. Where you were the understudy? If
Yeah.
he was unable to fulfill
if he was unable
his
to do it,
role?
I would have done it, and I would have been nervous as heck if I had to play that.
Okay, I gotta keep this hat on and play the guitar.
Yeah, like no, he had his acoustic guitar on the sidelines, and then we had it hooked up to an amp, and he played the intro to "Spend My Time Loving You," which was the name of the song.
All right.
Nice.
Oh my! I think I might talk like 10 minutes about this.
This was the whole point of the show.
Band flashbacks with Matt.
You guys playing band? You guys seem like you
I
played
did-
band.
What are you
I
saying?
was not
No,
in
I
band.
was not
I
in
was
band.
on the academic team.
You're on the academic team, okay,
That's
Yes.
valedictorian, but that's
Everybody's valedictorian.
no.
There's-
Were you valedictorian? In
I
high school?
was, but
Were you
a whole bunch of people
I was
That's what I'm
valedictorian in
saying.
high school.
So
Everybody's
we're all-
valedictorian. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was not in
of
band,
this
though.
particular group.
Our band,
But
always
not
sounded
everyone
like-
everywhere.
Our band was really small because it was a small school, and they always sounded like a bunch of dying animals. It was pretty sad.
I'm sorry if any of Chris's former bandmates are listening.
And if
They
you
probably
are-
tuned in for the Zorro story, and now they're like, "Ah, are you kidding me?"
Sorry, it was just bad.
Okay, so I'm actually technically it's my turn. I
is.
don't know how I can follow that. I feel like Jerry Lee Lewis just set the piano on fire.
Nice.
It's always a good podcast when I set the panel on fire. I
Follow
suppose.
that.
Like I said, Tangent Lad. I think we should design an art costume for you. It's like Tangent Lad from Legion of Super.
Tangent Lad.
I like it.
You know, for Halloween, I was gonna. My daughter wants to be Poison Ivy because she likes that character in the Superhero Squad
Uh-huh.
or the Superhero Girls cartoon.
Yeah.
But we also watched Batman and Robin, and she just liked that as well. So there's something about that character she likes.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they actually make children appropriate Poison
Poison
Ivy.
Ivy.
Oh, that's
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
And
Well, I would-
so I think I'm gonna dress my son as Robin, and I'll be like Batman or something like
Okay.
that. But Tangent Man might be
a good one.
idea.
I think it's hilarious.
Okay, I had like an hour and a half to think.
Yes, you did.
I'm gonna take out the Punisher. I like Thomas Jane as the Punisher, but of the ones we have left, it's starting to be one of the on the lower end.
Yeah.
You know, the thing I didn't like about Punisher is I think he warned them that he was going to do stuff in that movie, which to me made no sense.
I will say
Like,
he at least wore the shirt.
he looked real
He
good.
looked
and,
like the Punisher.
And Thomas Jane's an awesome actor.
And I would, if they said we're making another Punisher movie and we're doing Tom Jane with it, I'd be okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I like
let's
the
do
new
this.
guy too, but not opposed to Thomas Jane. I think he's a good Punisher. The movie has some flaws, and we're getting down to some of the better stuff here.
Trivia about that Punisher is that I believe Thomas Jane and Tim Bradstreet, who did the covers for the Punisher during that time, are friends. And some of the Punisher covers, Tim Bradstreet used Thomas Jane as a model.
As a model, that's cool. Well,
so as far as him looking like the Punisher, because he
did that. Well, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. That Dirty Laundry.
Yes, I was about to say there's
web film, which is a pretty darn good.
It's really
web
good.
short. Honestly.
Yeah, I was really entertained by that. So
it seemed like that was his last hurrah in trying to get Marvel to let him be Punisher again. And I mean, maybe he could have made a good Punisher movie, but. Did you guys see the trailer for the new Punisher Netflix show?
Yeah, looking good.
Holy cow!
Yeah, it looks really good. All right, well, I'm gonna take out Blade 2 because I still don't feel like it's as good as the first Blade. So, sorry.
All right.
Stacking yours over there. Blade 2, it's probably not as good as the first Blade, but it's better than Blade 3.
Yes.
But like I said, you got to take one out. If that's where you're at, that's the one that comes out. Goes to Matt. Is there anything that reminds you of a marching band? Of the remaining titles. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13 left. 13 left. We're halfway done.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Okay. I have not seen the Richard Donner Superman 2 cut.
Oh,
Lordy Jesus. Take away your card.
So I'm taking it off.
So you don't have to see it?
Rude.
The point is you're supposed to see something.
I don't want to see it because I thought Superman 2 was a stupid movie.
Oh.
But you might like this cut better.
Does Superman still fly around the Earth backwards in this one?
No, that's
well, yes, he does, but he didn't in the original Superman 2.
Yeah.
He didn't in the original Superman 2?
In the Donner cut, yeah.
In the Donner cut, he does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. That's actually not how time travel works.
How does time travel work?
We don't know how time travel works.
It has to do with
when you're a marching man.
It has to do with bending light. So.
No, it has to do with the TARDIS. What are you talking about?
But
all right, so the science fiction time travel not accurate enough.
Well, that and I I didn't like Superman 2 because I feel like even if it was recut, director's cut, Superman decided didn't want to be Superman anymore because he wanted to live a normal life with Lois Lane.
Okay,
and so he deliberately depowers himself.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he realizes, life's not that great, not being Superman. And when he depowers himself, he makes it seem like as it is a permanent thing that he's doing. And then when the going gets tough, he's like, oh yeah, I'll just go back to the Fortress of Solitude and I'll just get my powers back and then I'll do this. So it's like, I felt like it was about as dumb of a cop-out as like those old Hanna-Barbera Fantastic Four
here's
cartoons.
the thing. Part of what you are having a problem with is finish your sentence. Part of that is addressed.
Part of that addressed. Oh, that's good. Is remember the Fantastic Four cartoon where the Thing would put a ring on and he would turn into Ben Grimm?
Thing ring, do your thing.
And I mean,
is that what that was from?
I think so.
Yeah. All right.
The whole thing that made the Thing interesting was because he was permanently Ben Grimm.
Then if you just put on a ring, that's not as compelling.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's some Fantastic Four issues where he does lose that power, and it mirrors the story of that. He realizes he's not as tough as he was,
right.
And I think he does deliberately turn back into the Thing to help Reed Richards do something.
51,
typically, yeah.
But they really don't.
Do you want me to tell you what's different?
Sure,
about
maybe
it, or no?
Well, because I said I hadn't seen it, and you guys would have picked it as the movie to watch. But
I don't know if we
there's
would
another
ever
movie
have.
I want to
I
see.
don't know if it would have made it to the end, but it would.
How about you tell me? Well, we have time. It's fine.
We can talk as long as we want to. I'm technically speaking. So, in the original Superman 2, you don't have Jor-El. You have his mom.
Right.
Because Marlon Brando wouldn't sign off on his stuff being used. But for the Donner cut, they went back to what they were originally going to do, which was use Marlon Brando. And you get a lot more of sort of the father-son elements of, I'm growing up, I need to pull away from my father. Can I do that? He doesn't want me to do this. In order to get his powers back in the Donner cut, and what was originally going to be done is he has to use the power of the fortress that allows him to talk to his dad. So it's essentially like he has to give up his relationship with his father in order to continue with his life on Earth. So there's a little more meaning behind it, a little more sacrifice behind it than what you get in the original cut.
Okay, so he had to do something that
Painful for him.
Painful for him. He lost the ability to go back to his father's logs to have a conversation with his father,
Yeah.
so to speak. Okay, well, maybe I should have left him on the table.
No, I mean, no pick is wrong. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
If that, when you said that was a reason you didn't like the original cut, I'm like, well, they actually fix a little bit of that in the Donner cut.
That is, yeah. I mean, that's actually the main reason why I did not like Superman 2 was because, I mean, I watched it on TV, cable, or whatever. So I actually watched through the commercials. So I was really into it.
Yeah.
And then that be like how it ends. I'm like, I sat through 45 minutes of commercials to watch this movie, and not really satisfied with how it ended. So I haven't seen 3 or 4. From what I understand, it's not really worth watching.
Three is kind of funny.
3 is kind of funny, depending on how much of an 80s Richard Pryor mood you're in.
4 is an atrocity.
4 is really extremely bad.
Yeah.
It just is. It's really hard to watch.
Makes me sad that Christopher was in it, just because.
3 is sort of like, somebody's like, well, I like cheese sandwiches. And somebody else is like, I like spaghetti. And you're like, what if we put these things together?
Yep.
And you're like, well, this tastes sort of okay, but it looks like a mess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of Superman 3. Two completely unrelated movies kind of smashing together.
And I think they were trying to play off Richard Pryor's popularity.
Oh,
and tie in
absolutely.
all that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, at the time he was a very big name in the comedy movies. So they were like, oh, let's draw that audience in.
Did Richard Pryor play a character from the comics, or did he just play man on the streets?
He was a hacker.
He played Richard Pryor, who happened to know a lot about computers.
He wasn't
He was not
Jimmy Olsen.
He was
or
not
something.
a
Gus Gorman.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think 3. The only thing I remember 3 was interesting was that's where we get Lana Lang introduced.
You do. You get the Smallville stuff, and you get Good and Evil Superman.
Yeah, Good and Evil Superman.
And 4.
And 3.
No, that's 3.
There's not much in 4.
I thought 4
4
was
is
where he
terrible.
fights the evil Superman.
4 is
No,
Nuclear
4 he
Man,
fights Nuclear Man, and John
Which
Crier's in it.
who has some really long nails that he scratches people with.
4 is a lot.
It's really bad.
And it's not just that the story is bad, but it is. It's just so cheap, even for we grew up on really cheap TV stuff, and it's cheap. Even it looks cheaper than some of the TV movies that got made.
So they had a low budget to make this.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like Batman and Robin, where they had to make the movie Batman and Robin because they basically they put the cart before the horse, and they had all the toys coming out. They're like, well, we got to finish the movie.
I think somebody else had somehow got involved with the rights, and there was a limited time to make the movie with the rights, and so
And it was just
it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. Although when I watched it when I was 12 or whatever, I was like, well, hey, Superman was in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
had a movie with
that's
Superman in it,
Superman.
but it's really bad.
Wait,
Yeah.
who's John Cryer? Who is he in?
Ducky
Here,
or Two and a Half Men.
Men. Charlie Sheen and the roommate. He's the roommate.
He plays Luthor's nephew because they want to get the teen audiences in. It was right after Pretty in Pink.
because
too.
he's a Rat Pack kind of guy, right?
Yeah, Brat Pack. Yeah,
Brat Pack. I mean, yeah.
I thought you were
Rat
gonna say
Pack.
a rapper, and I'm like,
Rat Pack is different.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking he was someone else. I was thinking of the guy that plays Jack on Will and Grace.
okay,
I feel like they look alike.
they have maybe similar looks.
mind.
Okay, I gotta take something out. I'm just gonna take out Constantine, even though it's okay. It's not. He's only borderline superhero, and I know you had to have Keanu Reeves to make that movie, but I kind of wish you'd had a version that looked like the comic book version. Even though I think Keanu did a good job with it.
And I think the story, because I've rewatched it,
It's pretty good.
This is pretty
It's pretty
good
good.
from a supernatural, terrorizing.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I actually don't think any of the ones left are flat out bad. Some of them are more flawed than others.
Right. I agree with that. Well, let's see here. I think I'm going to pull The Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
And I'm pulling that because Galactus is not a cloud.
I got tickets to see that from Speeding Bullet.
Did you?
Yeah,
Because they were giving out
it was
freebies.
like a
I
big
think I
premiere.
did too,
Yeah.
actually. But and the movie is it has a lot of good concept to it. But really, when Galactus is a cloud creature, I was sort of
I talked to the writer of that, and I think he would even agree with you that he would have liked to see that, but just was the budget was what it was.
yeah.
I heard that the director or maybe writer of that wanted it to be part of the MCU because remember, like that was the rules of the MCU were kind of loose then, so we didn't know what was really part of the Iron Man universe. I mean, I think at that point, maybe even people in charge of Marvel might have said, "Oh yeah, X-Men and Spider-Man are in this universe," because there was a general in Rise of Silver Surfer who was supposedly supposed to be Nick Fury.
Oh,
And that general dies. So I'm assuming in like an early draft they had
Nick Fury.
that character as Nick Fury, but just kind of something to think about. But
That's cool.
so I feel like it counts. The Marvel Universe.
I mean,
I would love to see the Fantastic Four come back, and I have never watched the new one that they just made, and there are very few superhero movies I haven't watched. I haven't watched that one, but I love the Fantastic Four. And so.
I don't think it's come across the on Amazon or Netflix yet. Now
It's
probably
HBO right now.
okay. I would probably watch it then, but
Yeah, haven't yet to see it.
yeah.
You're up, Matt.
Okay, I'm gonna pull V for Vendetta.
Oh wow,
Matt's taking you down, man.
that's not cool.
And the
Tell
reason
us why.
I guess I feel like I know the history of the movie, and like this was the last straw for Alan Moore to like not want to have anything to do with Hollywood, because how so many artistic liberties they took with the story, and watching the movie as a standalone, like yeah, it was good, but like now knowing like the story behind it, and, like how the rights got taken away, not really taken away from him, but like the end result ended up being something that he didn't really agree with, and they misused his name at promoting the movie, and now because of that, Alan Moore wants nothing to do with movie adaptations of anything he's done. And I feel like maybe if they gave him a little bit more attention, or if they just kind of like set the expectations up front, like, hey, we're going to do what we want with this, so he was okay with it, that maybe we could have had better Watchmen stuff.
Isn't Watchmen about to be a TV series?
Watchmen is about to be a HBO TV series, which Alan Moore's not going to like.
Yeah.
Although I like the Watchmen movie. I like
Who's
it.
show running it?
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
sure somebody knows.
Alan Moore sometimes reminds me of a coworker I used to have that we used to joke with. He would like gripe if he were hung with a new rope. I mean, it's just like everything makes the man.
Which
man.
I would probably gripe about that. But.
Well, again, but still, I mean, it just seems like just be appreciative that someone loves your vision enough. And I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's really not. Now, if it were like that Fantastic Four pilot that got made that you have to buy in like on VHS or something like that, yeah, I'd be mad if you.
Oh, the Roger Corman one? No,
Yeah.
that's. I've been watching that documentary they made about that. I actually think that's not a bad movie for the amount of money they had.
Probably not, but I mean, just when it comes across and you look at it and you're like, oh, now see if you made a movie like that from one of his properties, but most of his stuff that's being translated, they put money into it and they do a pretty good job. I don't know.
All right, we're down to 9.
That's my
Our final 9: Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins, Daredevil, X2, Hellboy, Superman Returns. Those are the final 9, and I think am I up? Okay. Well, I don't have a big problem with this movie, especially if you watch the director's cut of it. But at this point, I'm taking out Daredevil.
Okay.
The director's cut almost should have been another tag on this table.
Is this whole separate entry?
The director's cut didn't go far enough. They should have cut out the playground scene, the fight on the playground scene. But what the director's cut did right was there's a scene where Daredevil is with Elektra, and he can hear someone being mugged or being attacked, and instead of him doing something about it, he sleeps with Elektra in the original theatrical version. But in the director's cut, he goes and saves that person. And I felt like that was more true to Daredevil's character, and it gave a reason to like why there was tension in their relationship, that he was always going to be Daredevil, in the sense like Batman's always going to be Batman. Batman's always going to do what Batman does rather than take time for his personal life.
I agree. The director's cut is
sorry,
much better. And if you're going to watch one, watch the director's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we got some. There's some pretty good movies left.
I think so. I think we're actually down to kind of the cream of the crop of that era, for the most part here.
I think I'm going to take Hellboy out. Just because, we are getting down to what would I like to watch right now, and if I were in a Hellboy mood, maybe I would have kept it in there.
The second one's a lot better.
Yeah.
The second one's they took all the...
Well, they brought a lot more of the lore in, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn, sir.
Fantastic Four, the original one. It worries me to think that maybe there just isn't a way to make a good Fantastic Four movie, because they've made 3 and they've all been not good.
Even 4 of them. If you count the one that didn't officially get released.
I think what they've gotten right in the Fantastic Four, at least those iterations from this era, are the Johnny and the Ben.
At least
casting.
the Johnny and Ben stuff is right.
They've been fantastic, so to speak. Ha ha ha. But I think the casting on Reed Richards and Sue were just really off. I mean,
They made him too nerdy. Like, he was too dorky.
he was too dorky, and she was only there because she was hot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was her, and I feel bad for saying that about her, but that's why they cast her. It's like, well, she's real pretty, and so
I'm not even 100% sure you couldn't have sold one or the other. I just didn't get a lot of chemistry
that's true too
between them. I'm not sure they haven't. I know Jessica Alba's on other stuff that I've thought she was very good in. I haven't seen
he was in a TV show.
him in a lot, but he has been in a TV show. I just didn't necessarily feel like they had a ton of chemistry.
Agreed.
That said, I enjoy that movie okay, and I enjoy both of them okay for what they are. They're kind of fun, don't think too hard superhero movies.
Right.
I think probably Doom was maybe, in the first one, was a little off. They got a little closer in the second one.
To tangent again here, I remember reading a Wizard magazine article, or maybe it might have been a Newsarama, but basically said that Fantastic Four would work really well if they took the cast of Fringe and made them the Fantastic Four. John Noble, Reed Richards, Joshua Jackson is the Human Torch, Anna Torv is Invisible Woman, and you could have, because I always feel like Reed Richards is a lot older than Sue, in my opinion, and when I read the comics, like, he's at least 10 years older than her. Right. And their ages vary, but because you had Reed Richards and Ben Grimm were supposed to be World War II
originally, yeah,
veterans, and obviously the sliding time scale, they're older, but like he was always kind of like an older, war-torn man, so to speak. So you could have, obviously John Noble's way too old now, but 10 years ago that could have worked.
Yeah.
And where Fringe is like, he's a incredibly intelligent scientist, and he's out of his mind half the time, and no one knows what's going on, but like they solve mysteries and solve cases. Fringe is Fantastic Four, the TV show.
Interesting.
Without a big rocky thing. They don't have that character. There's no big tough guy in it. But
I will say, when you first said that, I thought you were going to say if they had used the cast of Friends.
I did too.
And I was like, how is this going to work?
Oh, no,
Fringe. Can you believe I can stretch my arms? I Joey would be the thing.
Joey would definitely be the thing.
How you doing? It's clobbering time.
Well, this isn't a bad idea.
It may not be worse than the fourth Fantastic Four.
I guess technically you'd have to make Chandler the Human Torch because
Ross is definitely
Mr. Fantastic, right? And then does that make Rachel?
Rachel's probably the Invisible Woman.
The Invisible
Woman.
Yeah,
and that would work. I think Jennifer Aniston could have played that role. decent.
Though I think Phoebe would be a much more entertaining Invisible Woman.
Look at me, I'm invisible.
Yeah. I always thought I would think that she might be more like a Crystal
Who,
from.
I mean, the funny thing is, you do have a brother sister,
right,
so you could make Monica
Invisible Woman.
Invisible Woman, and we'd have to make Ross into Torch at that
Yeah.
point, which I guess would put Chandler back in as Mr. Fantastic, who does marry
That's true. Well,
Monica.
Yeah, this does work.
So I think we should do a poll. Who would you rather see, the cast of Friends as the
Or
Fantastic Four?
Who would you rather
Or the
see?
cast of
We should have
Friends.
done a whole podcast
on
on casting the Fantastic Four with the cast of Friends, because we
Next
could have probably really run
Well,
we could have run with that
Man.
for a while.
Well, we want Anthony here for that, so that we can watch his face every time
He
we
just-
we defame the Fantastic Four.
Well, what
It
about,
works though.
it
I mean, it
does.
works better than I thought.
That's pretty fun.
I think it was Mark Miller who, when he was writing his Fantastic Four series,
Yeah,
and even Brian Hitch drew him like it.
the
George-
cast of Friends.
George Clooney would have been a good
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm supposed to take out a movie, I
You
guess,
are.
is what's
It's your
supposed to be
turn.
happening. This is hard. This was at the time I said this was my favorite movie of the year, Superman Returns, but I'm
Yeah.
going to take it out based on what's left on the board. This is a good movie. It gets a lot of heat. It's flawed. It has some problems, but there's a lot to like about it. Brandon Routh was a good Superman.
Yes.
It did a nice job of doing some callbacks. You got Noel Neal in the movie.
Mhm.
You got Jack Larson in the movie.
Yep.
Used the theme,
Yep.
which I guess maybe we're going to do again finally.
I heard that rumor.
So at the time, and I don't know that I would say this now, but at the time I said this was my favorite movie of the year. But we've got Spider-Man 1 and 2, X-Men 1 and 2, and Batman Begins, and so based on that being the remainder of movies on the board, I'm going to take it out.
Yeah. Oh, tough
Chris,
choices.
you are up.
Superman Returns, by the way, is the reason why all the X-Men movies have huge continuity problems.
It's true.
Sure,
because
sure.
Singer went
Singer
over
went over to
and
do that.
and he stole.
Well, we had 3 of the last 6 movies on here were directed by Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
Wait, what? 3
3 of the last
Oh,
6.
X-Men
gotcha.
2.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take the original Spider-Man out.
Ooh. Okay.
I just love this movie based on the fact that we'd waited for it for so
Oh,
long.
yeah,
And
no,
were
it's-
you at Comic-Con with us that year when we saw the trailer?
Yes.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is
No,
going
and
to be good.
it's hard to pick which Spider-Man to eliminate because I love the Dr. Octopus story.
Sure.
as
I think
much,
2 is maybe
so-
a little better movie. I mean,
Yeah.
just because the Goblin stuff is a little... But I just remember being so like,
but
are you kidding me? This is going to happen and it's going to be good?
yeah, well, Willem Dafoe is
Yeah.
amazing as the Goblin. I
Yeah,
mean,
I just
so-
don't really like the armor, but that's
Yeah.
minor quibble, kind of.
So, my turn, right?
It's
your
your turn,
turn.
but I want to talk
Uh,
about Marching Band.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I don't have any anecdotes other than I'm going to pull X-Men, the X-Men.
Original.
X-Men the movie, even though I had no idea this movie was coming out until I randomly got on a trailer website to watch some movie trailers, and it said X-Men, and I about lost my mind.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, they're making an X-Men movie, and they've already filmed it. They got a
Right.
trailer out.
Wow.
Like,
So you were not like reading Wizard at that point?
no.
or-
I wasn't reading comic books at this point.
Okay.
I mean, I was a teenager, so I was kind of at that point like where like, oh, I don't read comic books anymore.
Yeah.
And
I
I-
never did that, but
well,
most people do.
there's a story of
Kinda
that that
good.
I don't even want to get into. So, but anyway, I mean, everybody gets in and out of their hobbies, so that's really what it comes down to. But yeah, I remember seeing that thinking, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so awesome. I remember I went and saw it with my dad, and was just blown away. I saw a movie with Wolverine. I've been wanting to see a movie with Wolverine so long, and but if you watch it now, I mean, you can't go and see Days of Future Past and then watch this movie and be like, oh wow, I saw an X-Men movie. It's just it has some problems.
For the time, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It shows a little bit of age 17 years
Yeah.
later.
But also, but it has the distinction of being the Hugh Jackman
The-
appearance. So I mean, it's
The
always gonna have a
casting-
place in my heart.
Casting is great, I think.
Casting is great. I
Yeah.
think maybe the only casting that wasn't so good is Fonke Jansen as Jean Grey.
Really,
I don't
I like
Doesn't-
her as
doesn't-
Jean Grey.
never really seemed right to me. I think Magneto.
Ian McKellen.
Yeah, Ian McKellen. I don't know why I can't think of his name. I think he's more terrifying in this movie than he has been in any of the X-Men movies. This movie really set his character up, like when they shoot the bullet and it lands in the cop's head and it's just barely about to. I mean, you realize that he is literally that cutthroat, and you have not. I don't think like I've seen that in any of the. Even in X3, he never really.
Well, and his origin in that movie is just horrifying.
Oh, the origin is. I mean,
horrifying.
I remember getting there and you're just like, oh my god. Another thing where like they're gonna take this seriously,
right? Yeah, it's horrifying. So
I kind of wanted Angela Bassett as Storm. You know, but maybe she was a little older at that point. I'm not super old, but Halle Berry can be a good actress. I don't know that she ever did with Storm what the character is in my head.
Right.
But some of that's probably what's on the page.
Sure, she can only go so far with what the script's letting her do, and when you have an ensemble cast too,
it's hard to make a lot of room.
And they really like Wolverine in those, so I mean, as they should.
I'm okay with her as Storm. I mean, it was fine.
She's not terrible, but she could have. But I guess because there's so much Storm lore out there.
Well, when you look at her as like the leader of the X-Men, one of the most. If you're reading those early Claremont issues, especially before Byrne came along, Storm and Nightcrawler are kind of the most interesting people on the team for a lot of them. So
it's really good. Yeah.
Okay, so I've only got 3 of maybe 3 of still the best all-time superhero movies. I mean, even with all the good ones they've made in the last 10 years, Spider-Man 2, X-Men 2, Batman Begins, still maybe 3 of the best superhero movies of all time.
Yep.
So basically, I'm going to pull one, and then Chris, you're going to have to choose.
Yep.
Holy smokes. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take out, even though it's great, I'm going to take out Batman Begins to make the choice harder for Chris, because I think he would probably choose Batman if it was down, because he's a Batman guy.
Yeah, I am.
And Batman Begins is good. Some of the fights are a little, now when you watch them, they're a little jerky.
It's very, it was filmed well in that it looked like there was a lot of stuff going on, but you never really saw anything. So it is one of the weaknesses of the Batman film.
But I mean, not much to complain about there.
No,
but if you're gonna, basically, I've got to cut down between 3 of maybe the greatest superhero movies ever made, and I'm giving Chris a little bit harder choice.
Yeah,
knowing that Batman is kind of his go-to.
And Batman Begins, that was another one where I was kind of out of the comic book realm. And from 2000 to 2006 is when I kind of got out of comic books for a while. And that was like high school through like just early part of college. And I remember when that movie came out, and I'm thinking, oh, there's a Batman movie coming out? And then like reading the reviews, and they're like saying, no, it's really good. Yeah. And getting like really excited. I remember my college roommate called me, was like, have you seen the new Batman movie? No. It's really good. You got to go see it. And then seeing it 2 or 3 times in the movie theater, just loved it.
So good. Oh, wow.
All right, so we're down to the final choice. If you've hung with us this long, listeners, Spider-Man 2 or X-Men 2, which gets the note as the best, our choice, I mean, not necessarily the best, but our choice, movie game choice for live-action superhero film based on a comic book character of the early 2000s, 2000 through 2007. This would be our choice. This is what we would fire up in the old Blu-ray player.
Here's the thing, you can't make a wrong choice.
You really can't.
I'm just really weighing my options, because, I mean, I'm thinking what happened in X-Men 2, what happened in Spider-Man 2. I mean,
man.
I think I'm going to eliminate Spider-Man.
Eliminate Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, because as I'm thinking back to X-Men 2, even though the execution in the next movie failed horribly, one of the big things that stuck out to me was the Dark Phoenix tease that they did in that movie that just gave me chills when I watched it the first time. There's so much good in X-Men 2.
Some of the greatest Wolverine stuff, some neat moments with the kids.
You have expanded mutants, you have all sorts of cast in here. It's just really good. So yeah, it's my pick for what we're gonna watch tonight.
All right, movie game winner 2000-2007 X-Men 2. Final thoughts, you guys. This is we're like, we can knock this out. It's been a kind of a marathon session for us.
Well, I did have like something to say for 5 minutes about every movie.
Final thoughts. You feel good? You feel bad
Yeah,
about
I
eliminating
mean,
anything? Feel good what we ended up with?
As far as opening scenes, we mentioned that the opening scene of the first X-Men movie was very jaw-dropping with, being a young boy being ripped from his... Was he ripped from his mother's hands and he's screaming for his mom and he's
Rips
pulling
out
the gate.
Yeah.
This had a very cool opening scene with Nightcrawler, the White House.
Oh, yeah.
And really made you think
Get
that,
you in it real fast.
what if, mutants are something to be afraid of if you don't trust them, because literally
Look what he can do.
zapped into the White House and almost killed the president, and just by a luck shot, stray bullet, he got zapped. If you haven't seen X2 at this point,
Sorry. But that's the first scene, so...
Yeah.
Nightcrawler is a lot of fun. That really sold the teleport as like a cool, interesting power. So.
And it was executed so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean...
All right, very cool. I think that's a fine choice.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine choice. So, hey, that was got tough towards the end, actually, deciding what to pick out. So now we've done really all the way from 1978 to 2007. So anything else, if the next time we do this, we might have to go 2007 to present, or we might have to go...
It's going to be a big game if we do that.
I'm thinking
back
2008 to the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I think in that 4-year span, we got
there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, well, you probably do need to break this up into 2 segments based on how, or maybe more, maybe 3 based on how many films there were. Because that was 28 films for 7 years, and I bet there's 28 films for probably 3 years or 4.
Yeah, because you had the obscure ones like Punisher, War Machine, and stuff that's going to crop up.
Warzone.
All that stuff's going to pop up. So.
All right. So, hey, what did you think? What would you have picked? What did we do right? What did we do wrong? Let us know. You can shoot us an email at infinitedangerroom@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at dangerinfinite. You can find us on Facebook. That's probably where we're the most active, at Infinite Danger Room. We're right there on your old Facebook page. And feel free to leave us a rating or a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear from you there. You can also listen to the show on SoundCloud or via newsok.com. So tonight, for Matt Howlett and Chris Borthick, I'm Matthew Price. Thank you for listening.